Today I want to talk about immunity of woman's body or woman's health. What is immunity and how do we build that? So what is immunity? It is the ability for you to resist influence on your system that is external and foreign to your system. So it's not natural for you. And even in the time of impact of these foreign energies from outside, your system is able to protect and at the same time to continue its normal daily routine of digestion, elimination, and recreation of the cells. It is directly connected to the health of blood and bones. If you look at the woman's body, below part of the body is connected to the earth. The red color symbolizes the element of fire because in this part there are so many things are happening that require very high temperature. For example, physically it's digestive fire, it's constant change of the temperature throughout ovulation and menstruation. So there is like a fireplace or a stove where energy is being digested, processed and cooked and then eliminated. The upper part of the body we will indicate as water element. The water element is much cooler than the fire. And if you imagine that you have fire here, you are boiling or preparing this water. This is how you cook your food. So this way it's a healthy distribution of the temperature in your body. This temperature goes really deep into the bones and blood. Now we are used to think that bones is a structure that is something like not quite living. We don't relate to bones as we relate to muscles, though they are the most deep, which means they are the most yin tissues in the body. They are so deeply hidden that we not quietly understand what are bones. The bones are very living. They are constantly changing. They have blood vessels inside. They have bone marrow. They have oxygen distribution. And actually new blood cells are being produced inside of the bones. So when you are working out or you are jogging or you're doing something, most of the time you are targeting your muscles because you want to be in a good shape or lose weight. But very rarely you are thinking about your bones. And bones for women define the health and the immunity. If the distribution in your body is correct, the fire is beneath and the water or the cold is on top, then your digestion, your reproductive system are going through a very positive cycle. And your head or emotional and thinking center are kind of cold, which means they are in control. Your head is not boiling from the mental process of inner dialogue, anxiety and stress. But what happens today? Today it happens completely opposite. Today the distribution is opposite. The below body is really cold. And the upper body, the heart center, which is emotions, and the thinking is hot. And that creates a natural reaction of your body, which you experience as hot flashes, poor digestion, overwhelming PMS or menstruation, overwhelming menopause, anxiety, depression, restless mind, and of course ungrounded feet. So your mind is hyperactive and your feet not being grounded, they are just running after the mind. And that starts from our childhood. Now when I was a girl, in my country and in general in the post-Soviet Union, we girls were trained not to ever sit on cold surface, not to walk barefoot. My grandmother and mother, they used to really put a lot of attention for me to be warm in my feet and also in my lower back. because this is the kidney area, yeah? And the kidneys is the element of water. So keeping the water warm. Of course, my family were never aware of this, but it's amazing. I'm so grateful that we were trained this way. Now, what happens when woman keeps her lower limbs in cold temperature? That coldness becomes dampness and penetrates really deep into the bone level. With the time, your body adapts and gets used to that. And most of the time that is wrongly judged as, oh, I have adapted in a good way, so it means my immunity became resistant. No, it's not. Perhaps a woman will not get sick or catch a cold or a flu, but she changes the natural temperature and flow of blood in her lower limbs. In Chinese tradition, in ancient Taoism, this was called a woman with cold or dead womb. So a woman has the uterus, but the uterus is really cold, stiff and contracted. Now imagine that you are feeling cold. What is your body response? You will contract and squeeze yourself. In such position, there is a lack of breath. There is a lack of positive emotion, because on psychosomatic level, this is fear, yes? So imagine when a girl is feeling cold, she might ignore that because her mind is restless, but every cell will come to this posture. Now, as the years pass, women develop chronic low ability to withstand. As they grow, they will never connect what they are experiencing in the now with what happened before, because the mind is too busy and has tendency to forget. And of course, all of this was not done consciously. Today, as I walk on the street, it's spring, it's really sunny, but I wouldn't say that it's a weather where you would like completely go in a t-shirt, though I see such people already. But what I notice in spring and even sometimes in winter, women are dressed up in a very weird way. So what they do, they wear warm clothes in the upper body, but their feet and ankles are completely unprotected from the cold surface of the earth. So this is the picture that I made yesterday on a metro station. This is a typical classical image of someone in Vancouver. I am sure that this lady does not sense that her feet are cold. Perhaps she doesn't even feel cold in feet. Perhaps she even feels something like hot feet, like a hot flashes. But what she might have, and this is not just a judgment, but a general observation of my clients, the menstrual cycle is disrupted. If the menstrual cycle is disrupted, it means the whole dance of hormones is disrupted. It means that pineal gland is not producing enough of melatonin, which means you are not having the healthy sleep, which means the serotonin is not being produced, that you are at risk to have depression. It means that estrogen and progesterone are imbalanced, which means there is low protection of your heart, of other muscles, and of the bones. Which means that pancreas, together with the liver, are not able to work to process the food, and more toxicity stays in the body. If you go to a Chinese doctor today, who will check the work of your meridians, most of the time there are all the same symptoms and diagnoses, which is the coldness and dampness in the body that the mind cannot measure. What you always need to do is to protect your limbs. So the extremities like hands and feet constantly need to be in warm condition. Constantly. Also, nose, so If you have a child, and when you go out, whenever you touch your child's hands and nose, and if these are cold, it's an indication that there is excess of coldness inside of the body. Now today it's really trendy to wear rubber boots. They look cool, right? The whole Vancouver is wearing them. So inside of the rubber boots, there is only one pair of socks. This protects from the moist of the rain and puddles, but the rubber has a quality to absorb the coldness. You might not get wet. And sometimes women are saying that their feet are sweating inside of such rubber boots. This is a sign that feet are trying to warm themselves, but they are not feeling hot. They are sweating. They are losing their own moist. And at the same time, it's really recommended to keep the head in kind of more cold. So when you sleep at night, you can cover yourself with warm, nice blanket. Even maybe wear socks, which I always do. I always feel cold. But keeping your head opened and even with window opened, so that refreshes the brain and cools down the brain, but keeps your digestion, your kidneys, your belly, your reproductive organs in warmth. The coldness that has been hiding inside of the bones, the dampness, is not that easy to recover from. It requires really, really deep and long work. So acupressure, acupuncture, herbs, steaming, and of course the internal energy work with the legs and the earth or through the grounding. Now it's very trendy today for the grounding to walk barefoot, which is amazing practice, but you cannot do that always and for long because it's a practice. So for example, you don't meditate all day long, right? So you don't walk barefoot all day long. Soles of the feet have so many acupressure points that are directly related to organs. And one of the main is K1, which is the kidney one. So it's a kidney meridian that starts taking the energy from the earth. Women can practice barefoot grounding walking after they finish their menstruation and before they reach their ovulation. This is where the temperature of the body, the basal body temperature, goes few degrees higher, and she is really actually resistant. But in other phases of the cycle, woman is vulnerable due to her cyclical and rhythmical nature of shedding and building and shedding and building. So that shedding and building happens on a very deep level, on bone level. Healthy bones create healthy blood. Healthy blood leads to healthy cycle. Healthy cycle leads to very strong and calm immunity. Start today. Pay attention. Drop from your head to your feet and sense how you feel. Are your feet feeling cold? Do they want some extra touch by massaging? Massaging oil into the feet is really, really nice. That preserves the warmth of the body. Pay attention to the temperature of your nose, of your hands. That will create a living energy inside of your belly. The most important part where all the creation is happening on monthly basis. And this relates not to only menstruating women, it's also to menopausal women. Now this is called the paradox of hot feet. Why women when arrive to menopause have hot flashes? I know few women who are in winter would wear slippers because they are feeling terribly hot in their feet. How did they arrive? Does it really say that they have actual hot feet? No, it's the body reaction. So if the woman lived most of her life and menstruating in this way, hot above and cold beneath, which is the paradox, right? The same way she will arrive to menopause with completely opposite, where her feet need to be just warm. So this is a body response to recover and pay attention. What do you need to do then? Do not go to extremeness to keep your feet completely cold. Find a middle balance where you can actually protect your feet and at the same time not overheat them. Start understanding the rhythm of your body energy. When in the month do you feel super hot and sometimes cold? Start tracking that from month to month and you will see a pattern with which you can work. Start checking the volume of your hormones. How much estrogen do you have? Your estrogen is still being produced by adrenal glands. And perhaps adrenal glands are being in total fatigue, especially if you have been on coffee, in stress, in reactive mode most of your life. So the adrenal glands, which are supposed to gift you during menopause with amazing energy and boost of sexuality and sensitivity and calmness, when you arrive to menopause, they are actually depleted. That creates really paradoxical or weird reaction in the body. So over excess, hot flashes, hot feet, disrupted sleeping, and so on and so on. Start taking care of your feet and you will see how your body, from being stiff because it's protecting itself from coldness and dampness, will become like a warm wax. And this will recover the synovial fluid in your joints. It's very easy to stay healthy. You just need to start paying attention to the voice of your body.